Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Oh yes, you heard that sound. Welcome back to another installment of the Culinary Hotline. Bling! It is a Wednesday here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. We are joined by one of our favorite chefs of all time. Chef Clem is in the building. And of course, if you have any questions for Chef Clem on all things in the kitchen or on love or anything, if you just want to ask him questions, call us right now on 021 110 552. Chef Clem, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Actually, you know what? I can't even have my specs on for this.
Why?
It's gonna get hectic.
Heated. It's going to get heated.
It is.
Here's why. Because one of our callers, Darren Claessens from Mannenberg, is here to join us live in studio to get help with these culinary conundrums. So please, can we hype him up? Darren Claessens is in the building, everybody! Dun, 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 dun. Come stand right here. Hello, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm good in yourselves.
Looking fresh, can I just say, hey? Is this your cooking in the kitchen outfit?
No, it's not.
All right.
This is not... I know that you have Chef Clem at your disposal right now, so any questions you want to ask him with regards to the kitchen, his love life, even if you want to ask him about that, you can ask him. But I know you have something with regards to onions. So what is your question for Chef Clem today?
I usually, when I make my onions, I usually burn it.
Okay.
Like, I told you must take long. It starts burning when I put it in. Because I don't know if it's the oil, if it's too hot, if the oil is too hot, or if the oven is maybe on high, something like that. So what can I do for something
Got you. This is a very good question because onions have sugar in them. And as we know, sugar burns very quickly. And onions turn black, and that black is actually the sugar that's been caramelized. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do it today. Very simple, but let me maybe go through some onion cutting techniques. How are your knife skills?
Good five.
All right. That's all right. Okay, let's
Before
go.
we get you, because we don't want to get your outfit, ruined or anything.
Yes.
So put in, you are upgraded. You get a little apron over there, and then now you can get your hands dirty, okay?
Yeah.
There we go. We're not getting the outfit dirty because that is
Yeah. So
TV outfit.
in front of you, you have a red onion and a white onion. I've taken the skins off, and I've kept them because people throw the skins away, and I totally get why. What do you do with it? You can't really eat it. So it can go to the garden, compost. What I do is when I make stocks, this goes back into the pot when I make stocks. You get color out of here, and there is flavor that you get out of here that goes into the stock. And that nice, rich brown color comes from here. So don't waste that. Okay, now, for your onion, we're gonna do some fried onions. So you got your knife, and I've given you a big knife and a small knife, but I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like for today's purposes, maybe the smaller knife's gonna work better. Let's talk about the anatomy of an onion.
Of the onion, back in the day.
Onions are like people. There are layers to them, okay? All right? So use those layers, and the layers are actually pretty great because that means when you slice once, you'll actually get all the different separate layers that actually break up. So one slice gives you like 8 or 6 little onion rings or pieces. So we're gonna use that. So first thing, we got the tail, which is the root that actually sits in the bottom, and then we got the top, which I cut off already. I never cut the bottom off because this actually holds those layers together. As soon as you cut it off, you'll see the onions will start breaking apart pretty easily. So what you're gonna do is top down, let the tail face you.
Yep.
And then you're gonna get your knife, and you're gonna go straight down the middle. Boom.
Darren,
Watch your fingers.
Darren, I'm so happy that
Okay,
you
good,
asked
he's got
these
it.
questions because we're learning so much about onions today, also learning how to cut them. So thank you so much for asking these questions. Okay, so we've done that,
It's
right?
a very good question. Onions are the most, I feel they're so versatile. You use them a lot. I mean, to be honest with you, you can't make a stew without it. You can't make a curry without it. There are some religions that don't believe in, no, they don't believe, they practice not eating onions, garlic, and those things. And I'm not that person. Put onions in everything. Okay, so here's the thing. We're gonna start off by working. You wanna do some, let's just talk about browning onions for like a stew, for instance, okay? So what I do is, I take the tail off. Now I can take the tail off. We were taught in chef school, you always, if you look at the top, we had the top and the tail at the one end. We were taught you cut from the top to the tail. Over experience, cooking so much, I've actually learned, and I've learned this from the aunties that make curries. Instead of doing it like that, turn it around, and we're gonna go the other way. We're gonna go from the round side to the round side. The reason for that is when you put those onions into a stew, kids, this is for you. Kids don't like seeing onions. Weird, I know. If you cut it this way, the onions just dissolve into your food, disappears. So let's do that one first. Okay, so first things first, you know the technique, right? Tiger claw. You're gonna do tiger claw, and you can get a grip in it, and your fingers fingertips should always be tucked away.
Darren hasn't spoken one. He's just trying to absorb all the information.
I am.
Give it to me, feed me.
Appreciate that. Okay, so fingers tucked in, you got your knife. We're gonna cut thin slices of it. You don't have to do thin. You can do thick if you want as well. And as you're slicing, you're just gently moving your hand back every time. Okay, so you got these slices. Now, you can keep on slicing, by the way. You're doing a great job. Jamie, you too. Pan,
You're doing great, sweetie.
pan is on the heat. I'm gonna add some oil to the pan. We're actually gonna use this to make an onion marmalade, I think. That's the best one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's when the primary ingredient is the onions, and you wanna show it respect because that's the main flavor.
Yeah.
Olive oil goes in, a little bit of butter, okay? And my rule, and like I swear, like this, I'm gonna get a t-shirt made. When you put onions into a pot, a pan, doesn't matter, you always add Baileys, okay? Baileys go in. So,
For anything.
yeah, absolutely. Baileys are just like, I cannot get enough of it. Baileys are amazing. So you get that in there. First thing to note is, this is actually too hot. You don't want to hear that sizzle like that. You want it to be a lot softer. Like I said, we want to soften the onions. We want to work with the sugars that are in the onions. And to do that, we have to have a nice low heat. We want the sugars to slowly come out. You don't want to burn them. So another thing that happens is the onions soften better that way as well. If you want to help that softening process, salt. Salt draws moisture out of things, so it's going to work really well for this recipe. The chunky slices of onion, perfectly fine. Onion marmalade is quite nice when you have a few thinner pieces, larger pieces, so that's perfectly fine. Get that in there. Jamie, can I get yours?
Yes. Coming over.
Okay, pop that in for me.
Walking.
Here we go. Here we go.
Okay.
We're all working this together.
We are. They normally say many cooks spoil the broth, but not today. Not today. Okay, onions go
Not
in.
marmalade.
When the salt goes over the onions, give it a stir, and keep an eye on that heat. You want it to be nice and low. This is the heat you're gonna cook on the whole time. You want to slowly release those sugars in there and start softening it. Another tip, get some baking paper. If you don't have a lid, you don't want to put a lid on this, okay? You want some of the moisture to come out. Get a piece of baking paper and put that on top. There's moisture the steam will still keep on coming out, moisture will evaporate, but you're creating enough heat on the top so the onions will soften faster. Okay, so we're gonna keep on going through. Once the onions are soft, and don't rush this, it'll take half an hour even. You gotta be slow with the onions. Once you get to the point where it's nice and softened, then you go in with a little bit of balsamic. So again, guys, remember at home, this is not, we only add balsamic when it's like half an hour in, okay? That goes in there, a little bit of sugar.
So you're adding sugar, but not
I'm adding
too
a little
much,
bit of
right?
sugar.
Because there's already sugar in the onions.
You don't need a lot. Onion marmalade, caramelized onions, you don't need sugar. Onion marmalade is when you actually add a bit of sugar to it. Let that all cook together nice and slowly. What you're gonna end up with, and I'm telling you, it's magic, you're gonna end up with a jammy onion like that, okay? That is amazing on like toasted cheese. Like, you can just use it for like endless amount of things. It's delicious. This is how you start off your onions for any curry, stew, whatever you're using, just minus the balsamic and the sugar.
Yeah.
Nice and slow is the trick for when you're cooking onions. That's the rule. And don't forget, this is for you. You take this home.
Take that home.
You take that home.
That is it. But we are not going to say goodbye to you because you have more kitchen conundrums for Chef Clem. So this is how you make your onions. You'll never have burnt onions
Ever again.
in your life. If you want to get your hands on this recipe, expressoshow.com. But of course, we're coming back with more Culinary Hotline Bling
Ting, ting, ting!
in just a few.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
It's Wednesdays. You know what that means. It's time for another episode of the Culinary Hotline Bling.
Ting, ting, ting! Oh, I'm still going.
Yeah, keep going, keep going, keep it going. For Darren Claessens from Manning. Darren, have you ever woken up like this in the morning with everyone shouting your name? Darren, Darren. It's the first, eh? It's the first, okay. So Chef Clem is here, obviously, to answer all your kitchen conundrums. I know you had questions about the onions. He's seen to that, but now you have another one. Ask it to him. Ask it to him. He's right here.
When I make acne, and then it's soggy, it's paperig. And
Then it becomes an acne. Oh, wait. When your acne becomes too soggy, it becomes an acne.
Acne.
I like that.
no, I make acne, not acne. I want to know how to make that, like
Yeah.
the rice lekker, man.
Well done, because that's rice for me is a very tricky thing to cook. I mean, it's mind-blowing how many different types of rice that you get and the different methods of cooking them. And it can be very intimidating. So, Akni, I've got you. Okay, first thing is these onions are making me emotional, but you had a trick.
Oh my word! Oh my word!
Here's your bowl.
I have
Here's
a
your
trick.
bowl.
So, guys, I don't know if you know this, but you should actually put water. Here we go. We're going to fill this up. Whenever, and Darren, this is for you as well, because you burnt your onions early on, but put water in a bowl. So every day, why are you laughing?
What do you say? You burnt these onions?
Early on you were speaking.
Oh, that's in the pasta. Bring up this.
Okay, yeah, but
Because I was not going to make questions.
you there now, Darren, you there. Jy is mos nou kwaai, né? Now, listen, next time you make, for the whole community of Manenberg, you take a bowl out, right? You add water in it, and then when you're cutting your onions, this helps that you don't cry. So just put it there. Afterwards, you can put your onions in there, but the main point of this is to help prevent crying.
So it just stands on the side.
It's just chilling there. It's lumming easy. Okay?
I wonder why.
Did you know that?
No, I did not.
You're welcome.
Pretty cool.
Zanzi, you're welcome. It works for me. Hopefully it works for you at home. Let me know if it actually works for you at home. Maybe it's just something that I grew up with and now I think it actually does work. But I never cry when making my onions.
There's nothing wrong with crying. Just, you know what? Sometimes cutting onions is a good opportunity just to let it out. And if anybody says what's wrong, you should be like, oh, I'm cutting onions. But deep down, you're thinking about that grade 1 day when you thought you had tuck shop money, you put it in the pocket and you pull out and it was like, dololo. It's fine. It's okay. Let it out. Let it out. Let it out.
We invited everyone for supper making acne, and then your acne was like paparach like that, and you were crying.
Whoa.
So maybe that's why.
And you know, they won't say anything to you. They'll just all eat it and quietly look at each other like,
But there's one person that's going to say, nee, was hier so
that's that one auntie. Okay, all right. So what we're doing is we're starting off by cooking our onions, and again, bay leaves are in here.
Where's your bay leaves? We gave you bay leaves early on. Where's your bay leaves?
It's in my bag.
Okay.
Okay, onions got some salt in it, and it's now slowly cooking. When it comes to curries and when it comes to stews, like I said earlier, you want your onions to be nice and soft, and you want it to have color. That adds sweetness to your dish as well. So I know we've got these onions and they're soft. I would cook this for another 10 minutes to let some of that color come out. But because time, we're gonna fast forward. I'm gonna ask you to work on our marinade for our chicken. Now this is not the full, very traditional way of making acne. I'm giving you a nice way to get you started on it, and the more confidence you have with it, you can then adapt it and like take it to that professional level. So in front of you, we've got some spices. I'm gonna ask you to combine the spices into your bowl over here. Turmeric, paprika, cayenne, masala, cumin, coriander, that's all going in. You can add there. You can add it to the thing. I've got cardamom as well, that's gonna go in there. Star anise and cinnamon. The star anise and cinnamon I'll actually keep aside. I'll actually add that in a little bit. So I prefer using boneless chicken thighs because they stay moist longer and they don't dry out like chicken breast does. You get a nice texture out of it. If you can marinate your chicken overnight, it'll make such a huge difference. It's worth the preparation to actually do it the day before. You're doing an amazing thing there. So get your spices in. I've got to keep an eye on my onions so we don't burn them. Turn down the heat. Okay, that's looking good. So like I said, I prefer using the boneless thighs, but today we're gonna use the bone in on the thighs. At home, if you have breasts, use it. Totally fine. Okay, that's looking good. You can now add your buttermilk to that. Okay, your buttermilk. In Afrikaans, I actually know this one, karringmelk.
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 Weet jy wat van karringmelk nie? Het jy gehoor al van karringmelk?
Ik moet dan koeienmelk.
Now I'm nervous. Now I'm like, is it true? It is true. I got a nod from the back. Someone says yes, it is. Okay, cool. So buttermilk goes in, and now you're going to add your chicken to there. The one thing that's very, very important when it comes to curries, more than any other type of stew or anything, salt. You can't, it doesn't matter what spice blend you have. You can have the best spice blend in the world. If you don't have enough salt in there, you're going to taste
Bland. It's going to be bland.
nothing. So that's going to go in there. I've got salt and onions ready. You can add your chicken to that for me, please.
Chef Clem, do you make little slices in the chicken? Because I've seen this quite often. People's actually like cutting.
Yeah. And you know why, right?
Why?
Because obviously, as you cut it open, it creates more space for the spices to get in, plus it'll cook quicker. So cutting a chicken, absolutely. And you'll see that often at restaurants or at takeaway places where speed and time is like essential. At home, you've got more time, so you don't need to. If you want it to look authentic, like you've just like, you know, like street food vibes, definitely cut into it. It'll look good. You can give that a mix for me, get that in there.
You want to show off for the people that manage.
You want to show off.
You cut it.
No, I am going to show off.
You must.
Flick.
For everyone.
You must.
One for me, one for you, one for Chef Clem.
Yeah.
Don't be stingy with the chicken. Don't be stingy with the chicken. There we go. You're doing a good job, Darren.
Thank you.
You're doing a very good job. Another thing is oil, okay? So people are very scared about using oil, and again, with a curry, it's quite important. Oil doesn't only help things fry, oil actually absorbs the flavor, and the oil will take on the flavor of the spice and everything else you're using in your curry. So make sure you got a decent amount of oil, not so much that your curry's swimming in it, but you want to have a fair amount of oil in there.
But if I throw a lot of oil in and it's so much on top, what can I use to...
I love these questions. Okay, someone's taken my paper towel now. If you make a curry, okay, and you notice it's too oily, especially if you make something like a biryani or a curry, I always suggest making it the day before because it just tastes so much better the next day. Also, when you chill your curry down, a lot of that oil's going to come to the top. And if it's too much for you, what you can do is you can actually take a big spoon and try and scoop off the top, or take paper towel, lay the paper towel down on the top, and that's going to absorb all the oil. Then you just take the paper towel off, don't throw it away. You know what you do with it? Use it as fire starters.
Oh.
And you know what? Because the oil's got all those flavors, you're going to light it just to start your fire, and it's going to smell so good. So don't waste it. I like that question. And that trick works with not only your curries, but anything else that you make that has a lot of oil on the fat. If you have a dish that's got a lot of beef fat, for instance, on the top that comes to the surface, if you chill it in the fridge, the beef fat will actually solidify, and you can just take it off. So I like that question. It's a very good one. Okay, we're supposed to be cooking, but I'm loving it.
We have 30 seconds left. 30 seconds. Acne in 30 seconds.
Okay, so imagine this is now marinated overnight. We're going to hit it with some tomato paste. Now we're going to go. Tomato paste going into your pot first.
Fast food.
Fast. Okay, then we got chili. You like chili?
Yeah.
Okay, this is like a starter portion of chili. We normally go crazy with the chili. That goes in, more bay leaves go in, the star anise, cinnamon goes in. Next we've got the chicken right over here, and we're gonna fry that all together, okay? For the rice, what I've done is I've soaked the rice a little bit before the time, and then I let it just dry out. And it actually dries out perfectly. When you soak the rice, it kind of gives it a head start when it starts cooking. So mix it all together. Give this like 10 minutes. You'll see the color's gonna start changing. You get that nice intense color. Then, with your rice, what you're gonna do... Oh, I got more chicken.
Got more, yes.
More.
Why
Okay.
are you and Dan so stingy this morning? Like,
No.
Let's feed the masses.
No. So take your rice. Again, I soaked it and let it dry on its own. If it's still soggy after you soaked it, perfect, doesn't matter. Pour that over the top, okay? And there's gonna be enough moisture because I soaked the rice, and it's gonna start absorbing the moisture from the actual curry. I'm not gonna add more water unless I can hear the pot's got like a crackling sound at the bottom. That means it's running dry. That's when I add like a quarter cup of water at a time. It's all you need. And you cook it with the lid on. You use the steam and the moisture inside the pot, so you're not adding extra liquid all the time. That's going to cause your rice to be soggy. It's going to cause your acne to be soggy. And what do we call an acne when it's soggy?
Acne.
Acne. Okay, you do that. You follow those steps. Finish it off with some crispy onions over the top.
When you add in your potatoes before we...
Goodness, you add your potatoes with your chicken. Got it. Because actually, I don't do my acne with potatoes. I actually crispy fry my potatoes and serve it separately with my acne. Sorry, that's why I didn't add it now. Try that at home, it works so well. But the potatoes go in with the chicken if you're doing it that way. Guys, how much time do we have left?
We don't have any time.
Okay, lid goes on, it cooks and it steams. You let it rest for a little bit to let the final bit of moisture get absorbed. You put it on a plate. Call all your friends from Manenberg. Serve it with some coriander, extra chili on the side. Everybody's gonna be happy. I'm telling you, they're gonna cry. Not because of the onions, they're gonna cry because they love it so much.
Darren, you have been great. Chef Clem, always amazing. That's unfortunately all the time we have for the Culinary Hotline. Do you have any culinary conundrums or want to share any kitchen tips? Hit us up on social media, Expresso Morning Show on S3. That is how you do a Wednesday here on your Feel Good Breakfast.
Give it up for Darren, give it up for Darren.